In this video, we're going to go over how you can make an AI influencer and then how you could scale your brand with that said AI influencer, and then how you could use Claude, Bot, and Kling to basically automate the whole entire process and have a whole entire AI influencer content factory. So let's get straight into it. So first you want to go ahead and use Fastmoss. Fastmoss is going to allow you to see content that is already performing well on TikTok. So you're going to basically go ahead and use that specific content piece and find a bunch of them and do your research. And then with that TikTok video, you're going to basically go over to Manus and you're going to use this prompt here. So you're going to basically start right into the prompt that recreate this with my Lululemon pants style influencer model with X product in hand. And you're going to upload your product image. And then from there, you're going to generate an image with the model and the product in her hand. So then you could basically go on to Kling AI and then use motion control version. That's what I recommend, and that's what we do at the agency. And then you're going to basically use that image that you generated on Manus, and then you're going to hit generate, and now you have a video that looks somewhat similar to this video right here. And then you could start scaling. I'm going to basically be posting these on Facebook, TikTok, and Instagram. Of course, out of the bunch of these, Facebook Reels is probably one of the most underrated tools, and also Instagram. But that's not too underrated, but you could basically just go ahead and use TikTok Shop for all I care. So basically you're going to go ahead and use Instagram, Facebook, and TikTok to push this content piece out. And it's going to look something similar to this. So you want to basically go ahead and automate the process or have it manual so you could actually go ahead and post a lot of content. And you want to basically be posting 5 videos per account per day on IG, TikTok, and Facebook. You could also purchase affiliate accounts via TikTok, and on IG you could also start from zero, but I would recommend you to get at least an account that is a few years old. And the way you can do that is by basically searching up this website called bulkigaccounts.com, and they basically just give you the best offers from 2 years, 5 years, 10 years accounts, because you don't really want to basically go ahead and use brand new accounts that you just created today, because Instagram does very much hinder the reach that you get when it comes to posting new content. So you're probably not going to get any type of views. Like, I'm serious, you're probably only going to get like 1 view or 2 views because you watched it. So basically make sure if you're getting an account on IG or Facebook, make sure it's at least a few years old, so it could basically validate that warm up period, because Instagram Meta doesn't like the fact that like people just create new accounts and they're just right away posting. So you need to basically buy aged accounts. So if you're Canadian or you're from a country that doesn't have access to TikTok Shop, then go ahead and DM me the word location to learn how I basically bypass that. Just DM me on Instagram and I'll basically get you more information on that. And this is my credibility. Of course, I've generated millions of dollars for our clients. Here's some of our case studies, private and public case studies that we have. For example, this account, Cursology, warstory.ai. And you can search up Cursology. We've worked with them since the beginning of the account. We basically created the account from zero, and we brought it to where it's at currently, and we still have creators on that account. It's currently at 150,000 followers, and we've generated them a little shy under $1 million in sales. So that's just one account. Of course, this is a public case study, so is War Story. We also have a few more public accounts that we could share if you do DM us to basically go ahead and work if you do have a brand. But yeah, we've done very well for ourselves. So if you're an e-com brand or a SaaS company or an app company, we'll set up your AI creator engine, and we'll basically go ahead and automate the post for you on short form, non-stop. We do all our deep research on what is working and what isn't, and then we test those TikToks every single day to get the most amount of views, clicks, and the most importantly, sales. We scale the winners by doubling down and making more in sales by doing GMV max campaigns. Of course, that's only for ecom, but if you're on the app side of things, we could definitely run like a Spark ads, for example. But if you're an ecom SaaS or app company, then we'll basically just add clippers as well that will distribute the content that we've already created with creators or you've created with creators and influencers. And then we'll basically just distribute the heck out of it on every single short form platform that there is. And then we'll basically go ahead and create content as well with AI UGC creators and normal UGC creators that are human. But yeah, that's like our whole entire process. We help brands get creators from AI and human creators. And then we also do the distribution side of it where we basically deploy clippers uh, into your business so you can basically get more distribution from the content that you've already created. Number two, how to scale your brand with AI influencers. And a lot of the growth that comes from scaling your brand with these AI influencers comes from distribution. A wise man once said, of course, this has been said from a very, very, very wise man, and hundreds of thousands, if not millions, of people have seen this specific video on this wise man's Instagram account. He said, if you are not posting over 3,000 videos per month as a business owner, then you are not going to make it. And that specific person is Daniel Bell. I'm basically the one that said that. I'll take credit. If you want to see a lot of growth, you got to basically go ahead and do an insane amount of distribution. So how do we do that? We basically use different IPs, phones, geolocations with Apple IDs and VPNs. So you basically have to think about your market, and then once you understand your market, you're like, okay, we got to target the German market or the US. Then what we would basically do is go ahead and change the IPs, the phones, the geolocation, the Apple IDs, VPNs, SIM cards to that specific region. So if it's Germany, then we'll basically change it to the German SIM cards, VPNs, all that. So you got to basically play between those lines, and that's what we basically go ahead and do. And we have a posting manager that basically does all that. And I myself have seen a bunch of brand owners use scheduling tools like Later, Buffer. I want to ask you, what the hell are you doing? Like, using scheduling tools is probably the worst way to go about things because it just hinders your reach. TikTok, Instagram, and Facebook don't like this. They hate it. They hate when people use scheduling tools. Stop using these scheduling tools. That, like, they are pushing your reach down through the gutter, and it's not something that you should do. You should actually go ahead and get a posting manager. That's what we do at our agency for our clients. We make sure that we have a posting manager that basically has multiple phones. This is a photo that we've taken, and it's basically just us with multiple phones just basically manually posting this. So you gotta basically take that into consideration when you're also posting, because all these little nuanced things are really important. The difference between the AI creators and the human creators is huge, because at the end of the day, AI creators are just popping up, right? Like, they're just starting to take advantage, and AI is growing on a huge pace. And of course, people are using like authority figures to make millions of dollars in sales just with AI content. They use like a grandma to basically get like a little bit more trustability with the older audience. In my opinion, right now at our agency, statistically, human creators are just way better. But there is going to be a time where AI creators are going to start ramping, because you can see this chart. Like 2020, it was not that much, but every year it's growing rapidly. And these are this is US $1 billion market that the AI influencers are taking over. And I feel like in 2025, this is probably already at like 5 billion. And in this year alone, I think it's probably going to hit 6 to 7 million. So overall, you see brands like Comfort, for example, that are doing $30 million a month in just sales, basically use human creators through TikTok Shop, and that's where they're getting a majority of their sales, on TikTok Shop. So if they're using human creators, so should you. And AI creators sounds nice on paper, but human creators are still on top. But that will change eventually. As you can see, Comfort is posting 40,000 unique videos on a monthly basis, and it's just a pure distribution play. Like, you gotta basically push as much volume as you possibly can. Reinvest everything back into the creators. And they use human creators, that's why they're still superior. But AI is slowly going to be taking over, and you better start now to take advantage of that opportunity. As you can see, Comfort is taking advantage of TikTok like no other brand. They're basically paying, like, I know this from the words of Hudson, the brand owner of Comfort. He himself said they're paying over $10,000 monthly to multiple creators each multiple creators, like 20 creators, to create 1,000 videos on a monthly basis. So they're paying each creator $10,000 every single month to create over 1,000 videos every single month as well. And they're doing this to over 20 to 30 creators. So human creators are still superior, but AI is going to slowly take over. You gotta basically push the most amount of volume, and whatever you have left, just put it back into the business to basically get more creators involved and more volume and more creatives. So you gotta really like put the pedal to the metal. That's why Comfort's able to do hundreds of millions of dollars in sales, and they will hit $1 billion eventually in the next 1 to 2 years. So at the end of the day, it's just a distribution game, and this is what a big brand like Comfort is doing, and they're a clothing company. And you think with your company you can't do the same numbers, and you're probably like a health and wellness company or a cosmetic company, like come on, get your head in the game. And another example is Cal AI, for example. Cal AI sold their company for $125 million, and I basically predicted that MyFitnessPal was the only person that was going to basically. I have a video like about 7 months ago where I basically predicted this. You could also check that on my Instagram. But they were doing like 50 million in revenue uh, just in 2026. That's what they were projected to do. And they were pushing on a revenue basis $6.2 million in a month. And they're also pushing a bunch of distribution. They're basically posting 10,000 unique videos on a monthly basis. And it's purely based on distribution. The more eyes you get, the more traffic you get, and the more sales you're going to get. So as long as you make the product look very well, people are just going to buy the product, man. Why? I don't understand why people do not understand organic traffic and they just focus too much on ads and all that. Focus a lot of your attention on organic, because that's what's going to actually take over. A bunch of these uh, ad platforms, for example, Meta is basically prioritizing ads that are basically doing well organically. In the past, they were prioritizing just static ads, just normal ads that had no traffic in itself on organic. Focus on organic content that already does well organically and also that is an ad. So both of them combined together. Of course, they got this whole entire model from TikTok Shop and how they've been able to do it, because a lot of the TikTok Shop videos are just ads that are actually entertaining to watch as well. So it's like that's where they got that whole entire strategy from. But overall, if that's what everyone is going to be doing in the next few years, then you should take advantage of it. When it comes to repurposing on Facebook and Instagram, you gotta use the auto DM on ManyChat. That's what we've been doing for the last 3 years since 2023, and it's generated my clients millions of dollars. So what you want to go ahead and do is just anytime someone engages with your content, so whether they follow, like, share, save, follow, any of that, then you're going to basically, or comment, then you're going to basically go ahead and send them a ManyChat automation, and it's going to basically DM them automatically. So that's what you want to go ahead and do. Like, that's how I've generated my clients millions of dollars, and why aren't you taking advantage of it? I bet none of you guys knew this in itself. So it's like, go ahead and take advantage of this auto DM strategy. And this is like the bottom of the bottom of like what we do basically for our clients. So you got to basically go ahead and use our distribution system as well. So what we've done is basically use content that was being created from the TikTok creators or the UGC creators or influencers, and go ahead and do a bunch of distribution, so we can basically go ahead and get the most eyes possible every other place. So Facebook Reels, Instagram Reels, these are two underrated platforms to go ahead and use, and you can basically use these two platforms and actually make millions of dollars for your company. And we did this for brands that we work with since 2022, late 2022, coming up on 2023. So if you want to work with us for this specific distribution system, then you need to have content from creators and influencers for us to go ahead and distribute. We supply creators plus clippers for brands like app, SaaS, and e-com companies, but you want to basically go ahead and have a bunch of content. If you don't, then you can basically get creators from us, and once we get enough content to basically push it over to the clippers, then we can basically get clippers involved, so we can basically push more content. The creators will basically go ahead and create brand new content with your product/service. human and AI. We do a mix of both, and then we basically go ahead and push that over to the Clippers, and then Clippers will basically go ahead and do insane amount of distribution like we've showed right here with these 3 tab accounts. Claudebot plus Kling equals AI influencer content factory, right? Well, the thing is, Claudebot, yes, you could basically go ahead and automate the whole entire process. When it comes to Claudebot, you could basically just go ahead and do everything that I mentioned in number one. So basically using Fastmoss and then getting content and winning angles that works on TikTok, and then basically generating it into Manus. Manus puts out a spitting image of an influencer or model that's holding your specific product. And then from there, you basically just go to motion control, Kling AI, and then generate the video so it could become something like this. And then when it comes to the automation of posts, it's very simple. Of course, you would have to set this entire thing up, which I don't really have it pulled up on this specific computer. I have it on my other computer that is back home, so I can't really showcase it. Maybe if I edit it and put it on, we could possibly do that. But what you could basically go ahead and do to automate the whole entire process is by basically having it scheduled on Later, Buffer, or even TikTok Studios or Meta. But overall, I do not recommend scheduling your content just because it's terrible, and I just don't recommend it because it just hinders your reach. Do it manually, but get someone to do it manually. It's pretty cheap to get a posting manager, to be honest, uh, since it's just a job that takes maybe an hour a day uh, if you have like a bunch of accounts. Basically, I do not recommend doing scheduling content. So if you want to work with us and you run a SaaS company, an app company, or an e-com brand, then basically go ahead and reach out to me on Instagram or Twitter. The handle is right here. Go ahead and DM me on these handles right here on whichever platform you're more comfortable with, and then we could see if we're a good fit. I appreciate y'all for watching. Watch this next video right here, and deuces.